Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here today. In this explainer, we're going to completely unpack a profound psychological concept, and we're going to do it using a beautifully simple ancient Chinese parable. Now, this is based on an incredibly insightful piece shared by Therese J. Borcher over at Psych Central, and we're really looking at how we process the unexpected twists and turns of our daily existence. I mean, think about it. Have you ever gone through something that seemed absolutely terrible, only to look back, say, a year later, and realize it was exactly what you needed? Borchard uses this classic story to remind us that what often looks like total misfortune can actually turn into a very good thing. So let's dive right into this and learn how to find the lemonade hidden in life's fragments. So, how do you know if a life event is a blessing or a curse? Because, let's be honest, we naturally want to categorize literally everything that happens to us immediately. You lose a job, boom, it's a disaster. You win a prize, it's a triumph. But from a mental health perspective, jumping to conclusions when bad things happen often creates a ton of unnecessary anxiety and suffering. And this central question, it is the exact anchor of our explainer today. We're going to see exactly why rushing to label our circumstances is a massive trap, and we'll do it by walking through the incredible story of an old man and his horse.
All right, let's get into section 1, the trap of judging.
To really understand this trap, we need to meet our protagonist. Our story begins with a poor old man living in a tiny village. He lived completely hand-to-mouth, literally dragging firewood out of the forest just to survive. Yet, he was envied by everyone. Why? Because he owned this majestic, magnificent white horse. People were constantly offering fabulous prices for it. I mean, even the king wanted this horse. But the old man refused every single offer. And his reasoning was just wonderfully grounded. He'd say, "This horse is not a horse to me. It is a person. He's a friend, not a possession. How could you sell a friend?" And honestly, this tells us everything we need to know about his baseline character. He is centered, he's content, and he's totally immune to the pressure of a quick cash grab.
Moving right along to section 2, the runaway horse.
Let's build a little timeline here to track these events. Day 1. The beautiful white horse goes missing from the stable. One morning, the old man walks out, and the stable is just empty, gone. Now, you can probably imagine how the village reacts to this. They immediately swarm the old man, completely frantic, totally ready to impose their own interpretation of this event on him. Notice the sheer contrast in emotional reactions here. The villagers scoff, their pointing fingers saying, "You old fool, we warned you. Now the horse is gone and you've been cursed with misfortune." They are entirely trapped in their fast, anxious judgment. But consider the old man's perspective. He just looks at them and says, "Don't speak too quickly. Say only that the horse is not in the stable." That is literally all we know. The rest is just you judging. He maintains this incredibly calm, deliberate mindfulness, just flat out refusing to label the event as definitively bad.
Well, the villagers think he's completely crazy. They tell him it doesn't take some great philosopher to see that losing your only valuable asset is a curse. But the old man calmly replies, "All we can see is a fragment. Who can say what will come next?" And guys, this is the core metaphor that anchors this entire explainer. The old man understands that life is not a static picture. It's a moving film, and they are obsessing over one single frame.
Which brings us to section 3, the dozen wild horses. Let's update that timeline. It's now day 15. Turns out the horse hadn't been stolen at all. It had just run away into the forest. And guess what? It returns. But it doesn't return alone. It brings a dozen wild horses back with it. Suddenly, the old man has gone from having 0 horses to having 13. And this rapid shift in events makes the villagers swing to the total opposite emotional extreme. Once again, let's compare those reactions. The villagers come sprinting back to the old man and say, "Old man, you were right and we were wrong. What we thought was a curse was actually a huge blessing." They're immediately jumping to a brand new conclusion, seeing total dollar signs. But consider the old man. His emotional baseline doesn't spike at all. He calmly responds, "Once again, you go too far. State only that a dozen horses returned. Don't judge. How do you know if this is a blessing or not?" He absolutely refuses to get swept up in the high, just as he refused to get crushed by the low. And this brilliantly illustrates his philosophical depth. Listen to this profound thought from the source text. You read only one page of a book. Can you judge the whole book? You read only one word of one phrase. Can you understand the entire phrase? He is pointing out the absolute absurdity of judging the vastness of life by a single isolated event. The villagers are convinced it's a blessing because 12 horses can be trained and sold for a fortune. But the old man? He remains totally unperturbed.
Okay, on to section 4, the broken legs.
We're adding to our timeline again. A few days after those wild horses arrive, the old man's only son starts trying to break and train them. It's super dangerous work. He falls from one of the wild horses, and tragically, he breaks both of his legs. Notice how rapidly fortune changes here. What was deemed an ultimate blessing just a few days ago has now directly caused a devastating family injury.
And right on cue, the villagers rush back. They flip their judgment entirely. They're like, you proved you were right. The dozen horses were not a blessing. They were a curse. Your only son has broken both his legs. Now you are poorer than ever. They are absolutely certain of impending doom. But the old man? He persistently refuses to judge the event as final. He tells them, you people are obsessed with judging. Say only that my son broke his legs. Who knows if it is a blessing or a curse? Life comes in fragments. Now for section 5, seeing only a fragment. This is the final twist.
Fast forward a few weeks, a devastating war breaks out with a neighboring country. The enemy is incredibly strong. It is a losing struggle. Consequently, all the young men of the village are drafted into the army to fight. There's very little chance any of them will return alive. Every single youth is taken, except for one. The old man's son is excluded from the draft specifically because his legs are broken. And the crucial realization is this. The villagers are weeping. They're completely devastated. They tell the old man, your son's accident really was a blessing. His legs may be broken, but at least he is with you. Our sons are gone forever. But even now, with his son's life literally saved by the injury, the old man won't succumb to the trap of judging. He imparts his final bit of wisdom. Your sons had to go to war, and mine did not. No one knows if it is a blessing or a curse. You see, the villagers' immediate judgments were always wrong, at every single stage. The old man's neutral observation proved to be the wisest path all along. So what does this all mean for us? How do we take this ancient philosophical story and actually apply it to our modern mental wellness? Here are the practical takeaways we can pull from this. First, we have got to stop rushing to judge immediate circumstances. Second, recognize that life unfolds in fragments. You are literally never seeing the whole picture in the present moment. Third, you have to allow time for the whole story to play out before you declare something a total victory or total disaster. And finally, use this mindset to maintain an emotional baseline. Don't let the highs make you arrogant, and definitely don't let the lows crush your spirit.
Let's look at how this builds into real, practical steps for everyday life. Therese Forchard wrote that she published the story to remind us that what seems like misfortune can turn into a very good thing, and that there is often lemonade ahead. To find that lemonade, follow these steps when a disruption hits. Step 1. Observe the event without labeling it. Just say, the horse is not in the stable, or I lost my job. Keep the adjectives totally out of it. Step 2. Acknowledge it is just one single page in your life's book. Step 3. Stay open to unexpected outcomes down the road. You simply do not know what wild horses might be running back towards you as a result of today's loss.
I want to leave you with a bit of a challenge. Think of a recent event in your life that you immediately labeled a curse or a disaster. Now ask yourself, are you just looking at a single fragment? If you zoomed out and viewed that event as just one page in a much longer book, how would it change your anxiety right now? The story of the old man and his horse reminds us that life is vast, mysterious, and deeply interconnected. We really don't have to carry the exhausting burden of judging every single moment. Sometimes, the bravest thing we can possibly do is simply wait and see what happens next. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, keep questioning, and remember to always look for the lemonade in the fragments.